Hello guys, I'm going to be diving into the Belgravia building in JVC. Now this is one of the most popular and sort of higher end buildings that I know plenty of people are looking for, and we're going to compare whether it's better to rent a one-bedroom apartment there or to buy it, or even rent and invest the deposit instead of buying it. So let's have a look and see what the calculator shows us. To do that, we need the current rent price and the current buy price. So I'm just looking here. It seems to be that a one-bedroom apartment of around somewhere between 700 to 950 to 1,000 square foot is going to be around 90,000 per year. But if we have a look down at the bottom of this list or the bottom of the page on Property Finder, we can see the recent transactions. So we can see the selling prices are around 1.3 million and the rent prices are between sort of 80 to 90. So I'm going to go for the higher end for now. I'm going to go for 90,000 for renting it and 1.3 million for buying it. So rent was 90,000. Oops, not 900,000. Let's try that again. 90,000. We're also going to increase the rent 3% per year for the time frame we're looking at, because it's not uncommon for the rent to go up in Dubai. And 1.3 million. There we go. And we're going to set the time frame to compare for 10 years. And then after 10 years, how much do we think this property will be worth? Well, maybe 1.5 million wouldn't be an outrageous number to consider. I've already checked the annual service charges as somewhere in the region of 14,000. I haven't included maintenance here yet, but I think for a one-bedroom property, relatively good quality building, I don't think there should be too much maintenance to worry about. If anything, it can come off the final sale price. So what is our calculator telling us to do? Well, initially it's telling us to buy, because the total you'll pay to rent this place over 10 years is going to cross over 1 million dirhams. That's quite a lot of money to pay someone else. The total paid to buy, live in, and then sell the property, assuming you're going to sell it after 10 years for this new price, is going to be 428,000 or 429,000 dirhams. That is the amount of money you'll have spent on that process, and you got to live there for 10 years. So these two we can compare and find that 612,000 dirhams is the total difference. You'd be better off by this number if you bought it rather than rented it. However, in order to buy it, you do need to spend 360,000 dirhams up front. That is a combination of the down payment plus the agent fees plus all of the other fees to do with buying. You'll then have a monthly mortgage payment of 5,600, and with those service charges added on, it's going to be 6,700, which is actually quite close to what the rental figure would have been anyway. It's slightly cheaper per month, but you do need to invest that initial large sum of money. So what if, rather than do that, we take this large sum of money, this 360,000 dirhams that maybe we have saved up, and we're going to put it into the stock market and buy into some ETF funds that generate us 8% a year, which is definitely possible. Not guaranteed, of course, but then again, the property value isn't guaranteed either, or the rent prices for that matter. But this is historically quite a conservative figure. 7 to 8% is what anyone would expect from investing in the S&P 500 tracking ETFs and things like that. So anyway, our initial amount is going to be 360,000. After 10 years at 8% return, it's going to turn into 667,000 dirhams. Now, this monthly contributions in red, that's simply to balance out the equation, because the buying monthly price is actually slightly less than it would be if it was renting. So we are going to deduct 728 dirhams every month from this fund over those 10 years as well, just to balance everything. But yes, your money is almost doubled during that period. If we include that figure into this original calculation, the new total paid to rent is actually just 373,000, which is lower than the cost to buy, live and sell. And therefore you are saving yourself 55,000 dirhams over 10 years by renting and investing. Now, if I was in this position, I would still choose to buy the property, because this could go down to, let's say, 7%, and it's very close, the figure here. It could also go up, of course. It could go to 10% if we're lucky. The gain there is quite substantial, but not really substantial enough for me to have to worry about dealing with a landlord, not being able to decorate my property how I want, not being able to upgrade it perhaps and redecorate it and improve it. So considering that maybe I'll only ever get 7%, the market can go up and down as well, and I have the ability to get this kind of mortgage for this relatively small deposit, I think I would definitely still buy this property. Now, if you were to buy it and then rent it to someone else, you could expect 5.5% net yield after all the fees, including service charges and so on, which isn't bad. You can find properties for investment in Dubai that are definitely higher than this, but it is a really popular building, and I know people that live there really like it. That's why I wanted to feature it today. So it's definitely one to buy if possible based on today's values, unless you have an opportunity to invest for a much greater return. We can also see what would happen is if we change the time frame. So let's drop this to 5 years. Maybe you don't have a 10-year plan, maybe you only have a 5-year plan. Would it still be worth it? Well, in 5 years, we might see this increase actually. We have done in recent years, but let's say we're going to drop that down a little bit as well. Maybe it's only going to go up 100,000 dirhams over those 5 years. The rent is still going to rise steadily. The mortgage is the same, still telling us to buy here. Now, in this case, even at 7%, there is starting to be a slightly bigger total difference for your renting and investing. So if you want to look at this from a shorter term point of view, even drop this down to 3 years, you'll probably find that renting, investing starts to run away with the result a little bit. This is 100,000 dirhams per year better for you, rather than buying it, living in it for 3 years and then selling it, hoping for a big gain in the property value. That's the only thing that would save you in this case. Like most people are probably going to hold on to their property for, let's say, 10 years, this figure starts to diminish and become so small that it's not really worth considering, and you would probably see much greater increase here. Now, this is probably more likely and in line with the 2.1% average UAE, or it's around 2%, the 20-year average increase per year in property prices across Dubai. So going from 1.3 to 1.6 in 10 years isn't outrageous. Who knows what the rent might increase to? Maybe it's going to increase 5% per year, and then that puts it firmly in the buy and then definitely buy category. Hopefully you found that useful, guys. Great building, worth taking a look, and I would say definitely worth buying rather than renting.